everybody. It's Chuck. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing, and today is Power to Sing Live, number 151, episode 151. So welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to make the vocal cords better and stronger as a singer. And this is a question that comes up quite a bit. But my first question to you is, have you ever been singing and felt like your vocal cords were not strong enough to do the job? You felt like your vocal cords were weak or in some way needed to be stronger and better? Have you ever felt that way while you're singing? Tell me in the comment section below. I'd like to know that, and because I have been there, I have experienced that, and I've wondered, would I ever have enough, like power in my voice to do what I wanted to do as a singer, particularly on stage, and I do musical theater. Let me know about you. Have you ever felt that way? So, hi, my. Nice to have you here today. It's my, M-Y-M-Y. Hi, Chuck, I'm ready from Martinique. Where is Martinique? My, I'd love to know that. Joe, hey, nice to have you here. Joe Weston, I am doing well. It's a beautiful day here in the Intermountain West, the state of Utah. Hardly a cloud in the sky, just blue everywhere, and cool temperatures. It's definitely becoming fall around here. My one little tree outside my window here, looking out, is the leaves are actually starting to turn colors a little bit. And hey, Daniel, nice to have you here. Ahoy once again from that pretty Wales place. Wales. I did my DNA, Daniel. I can't remember if I told you this. I had my DNA tested, and my ancestry is like 78% Wales, England, and Scotland, and then a little bit in Finland. And then I have a good percentage, like, 12 to 15% from the Germanic area of Europe. Anyway, so I feel some kindred to you. And Nuno, hi, nice to have you here. Yes, you have. So Nuno says Joe says she has also indeed felt this or thought this about their vocal cords. Daniel says I get jealous every time I listen to Michael Bolton. So yes, I think it's safe to say, yeah, and I don't think Michael has always been in that situation. I think he has developed over the years and has strengthened his voice. Mohammed, hi, nice to have you here today again. And Percy, hi, great to have you here. Gino Angelo Jackson, hi, nice to have you here. Gino, okay, so I can remember several times when I was singing, and I was on stage, and I was singing, particularly the song "Impossible Dream." I was playing Don Quixote or Don Quixote, and I remember standing up, and it's all my stage, and everybody's quiet and listening, and you're singing "The Impossible Dream," and it's so iconic, the song, and the man who originated the character on Broadway and recorded I don't know if he originated, but he recorded the original album. Richard Kiley had such a large and booming voice that I was standing there kind of comparing myself to him and didn't feel adequate. And so I've had that experience. And Arlene Suarte, nice to have you here from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Awesome, Arlene. Welcome today. All right, so we're going to talk about, first of all, let's talk about strengthening or getting stronger and better vocal cords. I'm going to talk about a general philosophy, a general approach to that. And so I want to begin by telling you a story. Another story. When I first started in earnest studying for the long term with one of my teachers, studying singing, I was gung-ho. And I had another career, so I'd jump in the car and I would drive. Frequently, I would drive an hour to work. I worked in a hospital about an hour away from my home, and then I would drive home that evening. And so going down, I would practice, and coming back, I would practice. A lot of times I would be practicing not just my lesson that I had taken or some of my past lessons, but I would be singing the songs I was in if I were doing a show or reviewing my lines and so forth. And I remember early on, I felt like my voice was really tired, and it almost felt like my vocal cords were a little bit sore. And I actually had this question from a subscriber on our YouTube channel here, and he said, when I do these exercises, my voice hurts or my vocal cords hurt. And of course, not being able to hear what he's doing, it's kind of impossible to know for sure. But I have a hunch. And this is the hunch that I have. I told my teacher about what was happening, and here's what he said: "Don't do it so hard." That's all he said. And so I did my exercises easier. I didn't do them as loud or as hard as I was doing them before. I did them a little bit easier and softer. And guess what? My voice stopped hurting. My vocal cords didn't get tired like they were before, and they didn't feel a little sore. So that was all it was. So anybody have any questions? No, we're going to go into more detail. But that is really the first principle I want to talk about, you guys, that in our effort to get stronger vocal cords, we think that we have to do something harder. We kind of relate to it. I don't know, don't you? I mean, don't you think that if I just do this harder and louder, I'm going to get stronger? If I push it higher and higher and higher, I'm going to increase my range. If I jam it down in the bottom, I'm going to get a lower note. I mean, have you ever done that? I suppose I did. I thought that's how you increased your range. You just kept banging up against the top, and eventually you got another half tone. You just kept doing it, and finally you could go up another half step. And then if you did it longer and longer and more and multiple times a day or a week or and longer hours and hours or whatever, that it would you could start singing higher and you start singing stronger. Anybody thought that? Okay. Hey, Devox, nice to have you here, and thanks. Yeah, anybody been in this situation? There's some misconceptions here. Why are there misconceptions? Well, I think we think that the vocal cords are different than the rest of our body. But imagine if you had, have you ever been in a sport where you thought you were kind of in condition, but then you got into a school sport or, you started working out with the team, and the next day you couldn't walk because you were so sore? Well, that's happened to me a lot, and not necessarily from teamwork, although I can remember that in high school. But you lay off for a while, you get a little bit out of shape, and so you go back to the gym and start hitting it. You start lifting weights, you start, and at first you're really excited about it. So you do it full out. And then in 1 or 2 days later, you can't even, I remember this. I went to work out I never lifted weights. And so I had a friend in my neighborhood that had a gym in his garage. And I was motivated by some work things. And my boss actually wanted me to beef up a little bit because I was trying to get promoted, and I wanted to. It says you need to put some muscle on. I don't know really what that had to do with it, but it gave me more. He thought it would give me more authority. I was a pencil neck. I weighed 155 pounds, and I won't tell you what I weigh now. My goal was to put on 20 pounds, and put on 20 pounds of muscle. So anyway, the first day we did shoulders and arms, and the next day we did back and I can't remember, back and something else, and then the third day we did legs. And I'll tell you what, this is the honest truth. I couldn't reach up to my shirt and button my shirt. My arms were so sore, I couldn't. It just hurt. Well, that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And, so I had to lay off a little bit because I couldn't even lift on the next round. And we worked out 6 days a week. That probably was not a good idea. We tend to think that's the way the vocal cords work also. Let me take a couple comments here. Is that what you think? So a couple comments on that. Eric, hey, Eric, nice to have you here today. How do you avoid doing something harder when at times you have to increase the volume or power in your voice to reach certain notes? Good question. Maybe this will be answered today, Eric, and I hope to answer that. Thiago says, Chuck, I can't hit G4 yet. It's frustrating. I don't know what to take. I don't want to take 3 or 4 years to get to these high notes. Thiago, you'll get it. Be patient. Gino, Thiago, just make sure you're doing them right. If you're doing those exercises right, it's inevitable. You will. Gino says, yes, definitely. My mind, I felt the same, singing too loud because of the orchestra. At home, I started to sing softer and just put my hands to my ears to adjust my sound. Interesting. That's a good comment. Another, a good strategy. Nuno, Thiago, what's your voice type? Okay, sorry. You guys are helping each other there. Devox, yes, singing higher does not mean harder and louder. Two separate things. Right on, Devox. So totally true. Okay, so hey, Jonathan, nice to have you here today. Jonathan Sanvi from Brazil in the house. Awesome. And so Muhammad said that sometimes after singing or when I'm tired or after going to the gym or after eating junk foods, my voice loses its quality and I need to rest or recover. Actually, after waking up, the quality is good. And that's a good point. What rest can do for our bodies and for our vocal cords. Gino says, I sang the Star Spangled Banner and hit a wrong note. I was mad to the point of tears. Well, Gino, what a great experience, though. And here's the thing. You made a mistake, but the world kept on turning, didn't it? And life did not end. We sometimes feel like life will end if we make a mistake, and good for you. Good for you. That'll always be a memory that will become more and more meaningful to you as you continue to sing. Okay, so Mai says, my name is Mimi. Mimi, I beg your pardon. It's French. I'm a dancer too, so I thought I had to put energy in my voice as I did with my body. I was wrong. Now I fixed it. Okay, Mimi, so there's a really good lead in to what I want to talk about. Hey, Ro, nice to have you here today. Hey, Danny, Segundo, and I'm going through terrible times with acid reflux. The pain in my throat just doesn't go away. Should I still sing? What do I do? I would be careful on singing hard for sure. I think you could do light exercises, but are you taking some medicine, Danny? Because that's the only way I control. I control it with medicine. So you got to go see that ENT if you haven't seen him yet, or her. Okay, so we got some reflux junkies going on. I'm one of them. All right, so now here's the deal. Let me read a couple. I'm going to read it. This is not my. These aren't my words. This is "Singing from the Stars" from Seth Riggs, and I think he is so right on the money. First thing he says is on. This is on page 19 in this edition. He said, any exercise. Now he's addressing people who were learning on their own with the book, and so it fits very well with what we're doing here. Many of you are learning on your own online, and so here's the concept when you're working on your own. As valuable as the exercises are on my website, let's say, okay, as valuable as they are for your training, any exercise can be overworked and misused to where it will do more harm than good. He says, you don't develop your voice by pushing it to its limit. You don't develop your voice by pushing it to its limit. You develop it by gradually conditioning it to work efficiently with a balanced coordination. Now, what does balanced coordination mean, and what does it mean to gradually condition it to work efficiently? I think you could probably compare it again to any athletic endeavor. And if you go in now, like if you hired a personal trainer to help you exercise at a gym, they're not going to start you out with heavy weights. They're not going to start you out with, they may not even start you out with weights. You'll probably start out with stretching and getting range of motion. And if you do start out with weights, they're likely to be small weights. Why? Why small? Because you have small muscles around the joints. When you lift heavy weights, they don't tend to address the smaller joint, the muscles that surround the joint. And so they may start working you out with little small weights that look silly to other people who don't know what they're doing. They see somebody lift these little small weights and they think, wow, man, that's weird. Well, it's not weird. It's another important part of physical conditioning that has been overlooked for many years, and that is you've got to address the joints and the stability of the joint. And so in the situation where you're working with the trainer, they're going to be working to develop the coordination, the balance, and the strength of the small muscles that surround the joint, so that you can begin to use larger weight, heavier weight, to condition the larger muscles. But this time now, there's going to be a balanced coordination. You're going to have the balance of the small muscles and the larger muscles, so you're going to have better movement. So there's this whole concept of not overdoing it that I think it's pretty avant-garde in physical conditioning, and the same thing applies in the voice. Seth says you develop it by gradually conditioning it to work efficiently with a balanced coordination. So that's on page 19 if anybody has Singing for the Stars. On page 38, he says something similar. Let me just get a couple comments here. So the point is, you guys, we don't want to do the exercises hard to develop strength in the voice. That's not how we build our voice. We don't want to do it loud and hard, thinking that just by doing that we're going to be building the voice. Oh, I see. Jordan Duffy says, Danny, I have asthma. Okay. All right, so there's some help there going on with the reflux. I take Zantac at night. I'm not the doctor, and I'm not prescribing what you should do. You might be allergic to these medications. I take a Zantac at night, which is a night protection, and then in the morning I take a time release capsule that's supposed to be working all day long to prevent the laryngopharyngeal reflux, this is something that's constantly going on all the time. It's rather a silent reflux. I don't feel the burning. Sometimes I do down in the base of my throat, but I don't. It's not like GERD, which is the gastroesophageal reflux, which is very painful, and you can really feel that. The laryngopharyngeal reflux (LPR) is called the silent reflux because sometimes you don't know it, and you can kind of feel your voice is wonky a little bit, but you really don't feel the burning. And I take all time release capsules of medication for that, and that was prescribed initially by my ENT. I wouldn't just do it on my own. I would go see the doctor. Okay, so yeah, Gino says, I hate making mistakes. Don't we all? And it's worse making a mistake in front of an audience. But it happens. Welcome to live theater. Welcome to live performances. That's what makes them so fun. Danny says, yes, I'm taking Dexilent, one of the acid reducers that are very good. I went to the ENT and they saw some inflammation and irritation. Right now I'm sick and have acid reflux. Yeah. Well, Danny, you're in a low spot, but it'll get better. But you know what? Taking the medications for me, they started me out on one medication. I came back 2 months later, no different, no change. It's slight, but nothing significant. So then they increased the dosage and changed the prescription to, I guess, just a different kind of acid reducer, the time release capsules, and then that was another couple months. So it was 4 to 6 months before my reflux actually improved. Yeah, so my throat is sore, it hurts to swallow. Oh, sorry, that's Danny. Okay. Right now I'm sick. So you want to take it easy, Danny. You don't want to push it. I wouldn't vocalize until your throat stops hurting. It's not good to sing when you're sick. What do you think about laryngeal messages and steaming vocal cords? Oh, massages and steaming vocal cords. I think steaming is great. I think it's a really great thing. Excuse me. I have a tickle in my nose. I've gone to a steam room. There's nothing better. I feel so good on my voice. And so, yeah, if you can get some steam, and I know people put towels over their head and steam coming up from hot water, I think that's a great way to help the vocal cords, to alleviate, it gives them moisture. So, and then of course you want to be well hydrated and all that, and get plenty of rest and so forth. What do you think about and massage? I've never had a laryngeal massage, but I think if somebody knows, if you go to a reputable, probably a chiropractor would be ideal. I think that I saw a presentation on it not too long ago, and I think it looks like a good idea, and I would try it. And you never know, what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. So sometimes the only way to know is to try it. Muhammad says, I asked the question to give me advice why I lose voice quality. Actually, I lose some low notes and I can't sing them with the last quality. It's abnormal, isn't it? What to do? Well, Muhammad, let me go back and see what that question was. Sometimes after singing, when I'm tired or I'm going to the gym, my voice loses its quality. I need to rest to recover. Actually, after waking up, the quality is good. I asked the question to give me advice why I lose voice quality. Actually, I lose some low notes and can't sing them with quality. Um, so, um, well, Muhammad, I've been told that sometimes it depends on what you do at the gym. If you're lifting heavy weight and you tend to close the vocal cords really really tight before the weight, that kind of thing, it could affect the voice a little bit. And so when I work out, I try not to do that. I try not to create a real hard closure, a real hard glottal stoppage, like a grunt, because I've been told by some people, and it's their opinion, and maybe there's some medical uh, advice about this. I'm unaware of it, but anecdotally, I've been told that it can affect your voice a little bit, and maybe it is affecting yours. Um, my voice gets scratchy and tired when I'm tired, and I think that's because your voice is tired, your body is tired, and you're not going to have the energy in your voice. It's going to be a little bit lazy, and I think that's pretty common with all of us humans. I think it's pretty hard to have your voice working optimally if we're not optimal, right? Um, yeah, and when we lose the low, and yeah, I do the same thing. If my voice is tired and scratchy, I can't get down to the low notes because we're tired. The voice is tired. The vocal cords are tired. And so there's nothing like a good night's sleep, getting really well hydrated, and watching out for that acid reflux. You might have some of that going on and don't know it. So my advice is, what I do. I have to get to bed earlier, get plenty of sleep, and eat well, watch the reflux, be well hydrated, and I have to take medication for my reflux. That's about all I can say. I don't think you're broken though. I think you're pretty average. I think this happens to a lot of us. Okay. So Danny says, my throat is sore, hurts to swallow. What do you think about laryngeal? Okay, we did that. Sky, Valentine. Hi, Sky. When do you know you're overdoing it? Good question. You're overdoing it if your voice is overtired after doing the exercises and maybe even a little bit sore. For sure. That's how I know. Anybody else got some advice for Sky? Indran, I've been singing for quite a long time, and I broke my nose when I was young. This gave me a deviated septum. If I got it fixed, would it affect my singing? Indran, I've talked to several people who have had their deviated septum repaired, and it appeared as if there was no effect on their singing. You want to make sure that if you have to be intubated, if they have to put a tube down your throat to help you breathe while you're asleep, you tell them that you're a singer, and that so that way they can be very careful when they pass that tube by your vocal cords. That causes more problems when you're waking up and for the first little while. But some people have actually had some negative, long-lasting effects when they had surgery because of that intubation tube. So just be aware of that. Thiago, every time I do vocal exercises now, I get angry because I'm a little impatient. And then things get harder than it should be. But it's something that I can't control. Thiago, if you get angry and you do it harder when you practice, you'll have a hard time reaching that G4. So it might be that it's not the right approach for you to do that. You may want to take another approach to it. All my favorite songs are higher than my vocal range. It's always helpful to find some songs that you can do and you can do well, and maybe one or two of the notes may go to the F, F sharp, or maybe to the G. And so you kind of have to pace yourself, Thiago. Danny says, hey, oh man, watch out. Oh man, hey, watch out with Zantac, man. You see the news? Stores have stopped selling them because they're under trouble because they found out that it gives cancer. Wow, haven't seen that yet, Danny. Thanks for the heads up. I'll have to look into that. I have the same issue. It sucks to have changed keys to sing your favorite songs. Okay, so we're getting a little bit off because in reality, many times, and this is once we've learned how to bridge, and this is what Thiago is working on. He's still not bridging because the larynx is coming up. He's not able to get to the G4. One of these days, but he's 19 too, so sometimes this vocal change lasts a while. So you've got to remember everything in context here. Thiago is 19 years old, and the vocal change causes things to be much harder for us until we get through all of that. But as soon as he's able to bridge appropriately, then it becomes easier actually to raise the key. In some ranges, 2 notes come out instead of 1. Hi, Nedra Dugan. Yeah, in some ranges, 2 notes come out instead of 1. Isn't that interesting? This sounds like kind of a split tone almost. And it's probably something that's temporary. And I'm gonna ask you, Nedra, does that happen every single time you sing that note, or just sometimes? Bernie, Luis Miguel sings with power and his voice is still in good shape. Do you think it's only a few who can do that? No, Luis. In fact, once we get our voices in shape, we all can sing with power. I'm not saying we can't sing with power. I'm saying that until we learn how to sing with power, that we don't sing too hard and too loud to get to that. And that's not how people learn how to sing with power. They don't sing with power by singing loud and hard while they're exercising. So let me read a couple other comments here. Eric's comment is, Bernie says, Luis Miguel sings with, okay, let it know. Sorry, Eric says, hi, Eric, nice to have you here. If the vocal cords are a muscle, then typically what is a good starting top note for males and females? Kind of like how maybe, for example, purposes, 25 pounds is a good starting point for weights. Yeah. So Eric, it's very helpful to know your vocal type. That is what you tend to do when you sing through your bridge area. That's E, F, F sharp. And for the ladies, it's A, B flat, B, C, C sharp. If we tend to, generally, let me just give you a general answer to that. For the bass, for the tenors and the baritones, it's ideal to start at the A flat above middle C. That's the A flat 4, and come down, because you're going to come down into the bridge, G, F, G4, F sharp 4, F4, E4. And for a true basso profundo, the guys that can sing down in here, that's my note right there. I can do that, but it's, it took me a while to be able to do that. So a lot of basses can do the same thing, start in the A flat, above middle C. But the real basso profundo, the real low voices, I would say the E flat above middle C, because they bridge lower than the baritones and the tenors and many of the basses. They bridge on the A, B flat, B, and C. So the E flat would be ideal for the voices that are down here. The ladies, yours would be the C sharp above middle C, so the C sharp 5 and down. And unless you're a contralto and sing down here with the men, if you can reach down in there, Joe Weston's, I think one of them here today, your high note would be the A flat above middle C. This is where you would start practicing. That's the A flat 4, and because she would bridge as a contralto, she would bridge where the tenors and baritones bridge, the E, F sharp. Hopefully that helps. That's an interesting question, and hopefully that helps. Let me see. Where is it, Eric? Does that answer your question? Okay, so let me get a couple other points in here, and then I'll give you a couple exercises that start building power in your voice. You're not going to like them, but they do. So another comment made by Seth Riggs in his book here, Singing for the Stars, on page 38, he says, developing coordination, that's the first step. Coordination of your voice at your speech level, that is like where we talk, with the larynx resting here and kind of in a neutral position. Coordination of your voice at your speech level must be developed before you can begin to build strength. Before you can begin to build strength in your voice. As you do the exercises, don't feel like you have to sing them loudly. That's not important. If you try to sing too loudly and using too much air too soon, your outer muscles will never give up their pulling and tightening reflexes. Have patience. You must first eliminate any outer muscle activity that interferes with your tone. This will free your tone and consequently free your ability to produce words easily and clearly. So we must eliminate the outer muscles getting involved, and that's one reason why we don't want to practice loud or sing loudly, exercise loudly. Because we use so much air that it creates that the vocal cords have to hold back the air because we're doing it so loud, and that tightens everything else up. And so now the vocal cords are getting squeezed. And now the vocal cords can't function like they can if they're free from squeezing. Okay? Page 39, here's what it says. Building strength, all in good time. Don't be too concerned about building a strong voice right away. The ability to increase the loudness of your tone will come by itself after the coordination of your vocal muscles has been established. The ability to increase the loudness of your tone will come by itself after the coordination of your vocal muscles has been established. Once the crutch of depending on your outer muscles to help keep your vocal cords balanced with your breath flow is gone, your vocal cords will develop their own independent strength. See, what we do when we sing loud, we are forcing our voice to sing loud. We're forcing it with extrinsic muscle, and we're putting a lot of pressure on the vocal cords, and we're loud. We can yell loud, right? But now what's happened is the vocal cords don't have their coordination that they need to develop their own independent strength. because these other muscles are squeezing it. Once, little by little, your vocal cords will be able to hold back more and more air in the vibrating process, eventually providing you all the dynamic or the loudness, flexibility you need. In the meantime, or at any time for that matter, you should sing only as loudly as you are able to stay on your speech level. That is, with a clear, connected, and easily produced tone throughout your entire range. Interesting, huh? The secret to doing more is to do less. The secret to getting more power in the voice is to do less. In a way, that is, less loudness, less, volume, less, maybe even. It's much more important to do the exercises correctly at a medium volume, medium loud volume, because that's going to allow the vocal cords to develop their own independent strength and coordination. The coordination between the air and the muscle of the cord playing nicely together. If we've got blasted air, if we're doing them so hard and there's squeezing from the outside, they can't function independently. And that's where the coordination comes, and that's where the power begins to come in. Let me get a couple other comments here, and I'll give you a couple exercises that do that immediately. Okay. All right, so, hey, Melody, nice to have you here today. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit of a row. Row TD. Okay, Row says, Row TDQ, how to become a confident singer. I'm even afraid of singing in my room by fear that a relative will hear me practice. Row, you have to sing for a relative, and you have to sing often for them, a friend or a relative. And the more you do it, the more confident you become. Second thing is, you want to get your technique down as well as you can. So I recommend studying with a singer, or with a teacher of singing. That's how I develop my confidence. And once you know your technique is good, then that helps increase your confidence too. And then you start wanting to let people hear it. And you start wanting to try it out. Hey, what do you think about this? So I would say, get your technique down and sing as often as you can for friends and family. What's the maximum hardness and loudness in my opinion, and how to understand it? Muhammad, do an exercise. If you said, if you just did a simple exercise, nay, 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 nay. Ask yourself, on a scale of 0 being no sound to 10 being as loud as you can, how loud do you think that was? Do that to yourself. Analyze, how loud do you think you're doing? And let's say that you do it at, I would say right there, I would probably say mine was about a 5 or 6. Do the exercise, if it's a 5, do the exercise at a 2.5. Or if it's a 7, do it half of that loudness. Take it down to a 3.5. Okay? So now I would say, I would try and cut it in half. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. That's how you approach it. Whatever you think it is, cut it in half. If it still doesn't resolve, take it down another half. Nedra says the double notes usually happen, but not always, in the middle range. So Nedra, if it happens every single time you sing there, I would go see the doctor. But if it just happens occasionally, once in a while, then it's probably the larynx coming up, and it might, and it probably is affecting where the vibration is going, whether it's staying down low or the vibration is going up into your head. And so I'm guessing that it's something that can be fixed pretty easily, and it's going to be a combination of and so what I would do immediately, where you hear that, Nedra, I would go right to the song, and I would say, whatever the song is, if I'm singing, go right to the song and do a bubble through there, a lip trill, and see if it evens out, and see if you stop getting that double pitch. Do it on nay, 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 whatever it is. Do it a couple exercises there and see if it goes away. That'll kind of help you get some idea of what's going on. Danny says, Ro, why do you sing? Okay. Just loves to sing, Danny. That's all, I guess. Just wants to really bad. And that's kind of where we all start. Melody says, yes, I sing quietly and it comes out better. When I try to put power behind it, sometimes it makes bridging harder. I have to remember that head voice is naturally louder. Good point. Melody makes a really good point. And that is, sometimes we think it's softer in our, especially as the pitches go higher. But because the pitch is higher, it creates a louder sound in your listener's ear because we're very sensitive to those high pitches. So we can reduce the loudness and still sound quite loud to other people. Sometimes it's just inside us, depending on where your pitch is. If you're up in your head voice, sometimes you feel like, oh, it's not very powerful at all, when it's much more power than you think. Piro, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, if that's right or not. Zavalos, hi, nice to have you here today. I've been doing your exercises for pull chest high larynx vocal type since May, and I can sing up to an A4 without breaking into falsetto. Am I making progress? Good progress. You are. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Up to the A4 without breaking into falsetto is terrific. And I hope that you're not feeling like you're pulling up. So what he's saying is, nay, 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 nay. He's not breaking, nay, nay, nay. Or no, 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 no. Mum, 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 mum. Nay, 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 nay. So I think you're making great progress. You might want to talk to Thiago. He's still trying to get that G4. So it's there, Thiago. You'll get it. Ro asks a question. That's why I've asked the question. I have no confidence in my singing. It cripples me when I want to practice. Yeah, get in your car and practice there. That works pretty well. Nobody can hear you. And people don't care if they see somebody singing. Nobody's really watching. I've sung for years, and I've never seen never seen anybody look at me funny. Of course, you're driving by so fast, you can't really see. Thiago, the power needs to come from the diaphragm. Power doesn't really come from the diaphragm. Air does. But you have to have air, so the power comes from the way the vocal cords and the air coming by the vocal cords interact together. And if you get that balance between them, and you get the coordination of the air and the vocal cord, then some really wonderful things begin to happen. Um, yeah, I think you're right, Danny. It is somewhat psychological, but that's the good news. There's nothing wrong. It's just that we all get into our heads a little bit too much, right? You'll get it. When I was a kid, I jumped off the diving board. I always liked to do gainers. I would go back and do a flip and land either a flip or I land. Well, I was doing flips. I'd jump off the board and go back. And one time I slipped and I didn't hit my head on the board, but I landed really badly in the water and it hurt. So we were doing them off the high dive too. And the rest of the summer, I had a mental block. I could not make myself go backwards after I jumped off the board. That was a psychological problem. I think maybe at the very, very end of the season, maybe the last day, I made it around. And I was just like pushing myself back. The next year I did it. The next year I got it back again. But talk about psychological. Wow, I couldn't get myself to go backwards. And so it's a real deal. But eventually you get through it and you overcome it. Okay, so a couple other comments here. Eric says, my top belt is an A4 and then it breaks. I wish I had strong mix because my head voice can easily go up to the G5. Well, Eric, I'd have to hear what you're doing. I don't teach belt. I teach mix and head voice, and so I'm not exactly sure the mix itself. Here's my recommendation, Eric. Go back to E, F, F sharp, and G, and really analyze there. If you're being very strict about whether or not the larynx is coming up or whether you're pulling a little bit. And here's what you do. You say, goo, goo, goo. Oh, sorry. Goo, goo, goo. Oh, this is good. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Now, if you said goo, 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 you know why you're having trouble on the A4. If you feel that larynx come up and start to pinch during going through those E, F, F sharp, and G, now you know why you're having trouble on the A4. Those E, F, F sharp, and G have to be really good. And if they are, then the upper bridges start coming in. They start coming into alignment themselves. So the key is not the A4, Thiago. The key is not the G4. The key is E, F, F sharp. And if you're not pulling at all there, the other ones come. Okay, Eric. When I first started singing 10 months ago, F4 was my top belt. It'll improve and expand. Yeah, and so again, the same thing is true here for our discussion that we're having today. Is we get increased range also by not squeezing or yelling or reaching. We get increased range by doing these exercises, softer, not louder, easier, not harder, to give the voices time to coordinate. Because when the notes start getting into, guys, for us, E, F, F sharp, ladies, A, B flat, B, and C, C sharp. When you get to those, the natural tendency is to start to get tight, start to grab it a little bit, start to squeeze it a little bit. And when that happens, then, we've got to, we can't do that and pick up and get extra power built in and get extra range. So this applies to getting range as well. I'm just tired. Eric says, I'm tired of being labeled a baritone when my timbre feels more tenor. Yeah. Life is hard. Enjoy it where you're at, and it'll come. Relax. Uh, take the tension out of it. Danny says, is it normal that there's a volume? Is it normal that there's a volume that I have to be at so that sound actually comes out? I feel for me to sound good and clear, I have to sing a tad bit louder, especially in falsetto. I have to go louder because then all I hear is just breath. Is this normal? Yeah, Danny, it's normal. When the larynx comes up, that's what happens. We kind of lose, and you can hear it easily in like teen boys because their larynx is high and they're going through that vocal change, and they'll be singing along and they'll say, so they have to do, they have to push it harder, which is not really what they should do. We just have to get the larynx down. So an exercise that I'd recommend for all of us. So this is I think we're beating a horse now that's already dead. You got the message. Vocal power and vocal strength and range, for that matter, aren't developed by doing loud, hard exercises. So the exercises that I recommend, if you do them, pull back on the loudness. This happens. I can't tell you how many times this happens with people that are scheduling lessons with me because they've been doing the exercises. They say, hey, I want to check and see. I want you to see if I'm doing them right. Inevitably, they're doing them too loud, or the larynx is coming up, and or both. Usually both. So. That's an amazing exercise for a number of reasons. Number one, the vocal cords have to adjust to allow this vibration to go up into my head and back down again. Number two, this bubble lips helps keep the larynx neutral down where I speak so that I'm not raising the larynx. Now, if I said, you can hear the larynx coming up. I'm moving my tongue, the larynx is popping up, and I'm just pinching it. So I kind of have to keep this a little bit of a hooty feeling, a little bit of a dumb feeling. You can hear it's going a little hooty. You hear the difference? So we want to keep it kind of And we do those exercises. We do them every day, and we do them at medium volume, keeping that larynx keep it a little bit on the hooty side. And boy, the voice starts really feeling good. Actually, I already feel how much better that feels. And all of the exercises. So I'll take a couple more questions. I'll cover a couple of. What? 3 o'clock? We're at the top of the hour. Holy macaroni! Where'd the time go? Ha! Okay, so the bubble lip is a great exercise. You do it on this long scale. So we do those exercises if you're looking for exercises to do, go, there's in the description below, after this video is over, in the description below, there's a thing there that says get my vocal type. You want to do the exercises for your vocal type. If you're pull chest high larynx, you got to find out your vocal type because the exercises are designed to help counteract problems and to start doing things right. So go to that PDF in the description below the YouTube video and click on Get My Vocal Type. And it's got links to a vocal test to help you discover your vocal type. It's got links to videos that describe what your vocal type, what that means. What does it mean to be pull chest high larynx? there's a video about doing exercises for your vocal type. And then there are exercises you can download that are the same ones that I show you how to do. And so do those for your vocal type, maybe your flip falsetto, maybe your mix, maybe your light chest, no chest. Now, light chest, no chest may have to do them a little harder than the rest of us because part of the problem is their vocal cords aren't coming together. So they have to do a little more firmly. The other bit of advice is when I demonstrate these, I probably demonstrated them a little bit too loud. Go softer than I'm doing them. Give your voice a chance to get rid of the outside tension. And then your range will eventually increase. And your power will increase. Because now the vocal cords are developing their own strength, their own power, and their own coordination. They're allowing the resonance to shift up into your head and back down again without the larynx coming up, which is why Thiago keeps having a hard time. His larynx keeps coming up. While why all of us have a hard time. And so by keeping that larynx down, then eventually we're able to say, E flat. Sometimes I can get the D, but that's E flat 2. So, if the larynx was high, I wouldn't be able to hit that E flat 2. So by just having the larynx down and everything nice and relaxed, we start getting that coordination, and then so do the exercises for your vocal type. Get your vocal type and that PDF. And then get the exercises. Download them. And that's going to help you start building the balance and coordination of your voice to be able to do what I just showed you. Okay? Got to run, you guys. We've been here an hour, and so many wonderful questions, so many wonderful comments. Thanks, Melody's helping some others there. It can be disturbing to hear yourself in terms of how loud, high, and pitchy. It helps to get perspective. You keen or you kind? Hey Chuck, could you sing for example a D5 really fast in a song, and keep your voice in a higher register? Well, I'm a bass, but I can sing a high D. D5. Okay, so let me just see here. Melody, thanks for answering some questions here. It's very helpful. Okay, you guys, got to wrap it up here. Wow, man, how to make vocal high pitchy? How to make vocal high pitchy? Maybe you mean how to get the right pitch. Do these exercises; it'll do it for you. Okay, Danny. So Danny's 16. Okay, I got to take a couple of these questions. Hey, Thiago. Once I felt my chest voice, D5. It was good to have high notes, but I missed my lower for a while. Slurpy slime. When I'm singing, I don't really know what is the feeling of singing in mix and sound in me. I wish you could help me with it. Yes, Slurpy slime. Do the thing I just told you. Go get your vocal type and do the exercises for your vocal type. The PDF is there. Get my vocal type. Find out what that is, and then go to the links. The links are all in the PDF, and watch the videos about your vocal type, and then download those exercises. The exercises are designed to get you in mix, okay? To get you mixing head and chest voice. And so that's exactly what you need to do. Major Jones, how do you know if you're supporting your belts? Well, Major Jones, how do you define belt? There's so many different definitions of that. Yes, what you just did is me. In falsetto, it's just breath. 2 years ago, I was able to do falsetto. My voice had already gone deep, but now I'm 16. I can't do it like that. So, Danny, you're right smack dab in the middle of your vocal change. Tomorrow, let me see. Yeah, tomorrow, Danny, I'm going to release a video of a young man who's 16 years old, and you're going to see him a year ago, 9 months ago, and then this month. So you're going to see 3 examples of him doing the exercises and listen to what's going on with his voice. And he's 16. You'll be interested in seeing that. Because you'll hear it. You'll hear him break, and he'll do falsetto on the early ones, the first ones. Okay. Have an amazing week to you, Joe. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks, Melody, for your help today with these questions, and so much appreciate it. Pero, yes, exactly what Melody is saying. So it's good to do that because she's experienced some help. Obrigado. I'm not sure what that means, but probably goodbye. Good luck. I just switched. I just switched to light just myself. It will help. Okay. So long, everybody, and have a great. Thanks for all your comments. This has really been great. I hope that you found some help here. As I said, probably not satisfying to know that we have to back away from long, hard, loud practices to think that we're speeding up our progress. We're not. We're slowing our progress down. We want to back away, do them softer, do them easier, do them more simply, do them when you're relaxed and at ease in a medium volume, so the vocal cords can develop their own intrinsic power. And you will get more power in your voice, as much power as you need and want. Thanks, everybody. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. And power. See you inside the next video.